The general ledger process in DonorQuest is an accounting function, and it does two things for you. It generates files of data, which you can then merge into Microsoft Word for thank you letters, and it also produces a report of the donations and the date range that you specify. So before we get started with the general ledger process, I'd like to show you a couple of key things for generating your thank you letters. So the first thing I'd like to show you is on the donations for Brad Anderson. So if you click Edit next to the first donation, it brings up the donation entry form, and you can see there's a field here, TY letter. So this field controls the thank you letter that the donor will receive for their gift. So you can actually have any number of thank you letters going on at one time. So by selecting the code here, you'll pull this donor or this donation into a batch specific to this thank you letter. The next thing I'd like to show you is on the main information view for Brad Anderson. So if you click Edit to bring up the form view, you'll see there's a field or a checkbox, No Acknowledgement. So if you check this box, this donor will receive no thank you letters for any of their donations. If you leave it unchecked, you can choose thank you letters for them to receive. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to the general ledger process. So to run it, what you do is you click on the word File, and then Run, and then General Ledger Process. And this brings up the General Ledger Process options screen. So we'll just run through some of these fields really quickly. The lower and upper donation date controls the dates or the donations that are going to be grabbed during this batch. So for today, during this demonstration, I moved the lower donation back to July 5th, all the way up until today's date. So it should grab about 3 months worth of data. The acknowledgement date is a date that's stamped into the donation after you run the general ledger process. And this is helpful if you run your general ledger process irregularly, or if you can't remember where you left off in your thank you letters. You can always go back and see where the last acknowledgement date is and move forward from there. The base name for merge file is where the data will be sent for your thank you letters. So I want to show you really quickly where the default is for the information to be sent, because when you're in Microsoft Word, you'll need to know where the data is. So if you just click the Start button here in the lower left, and then choose Computer, and then choose your local disk C. The folder name for DonorQuest is DQuest, so I'm going to double click on that. And where the files are sent after you run the general ledger process for your thank you letters is in this output folder. So this file is called merge T1. So that's the thank you letters that have that T1 code associated with it. Now, if you had several thank you letters going, for example, thank you letter 1, thank you letter 2, and thank you letter custom, and if you were to run the general ledger process and you had donations for all three of those types, you'd have separate files here for merge T1, merge T2, and merge TC, for example. So when you open up a new document in Microsoft Word and create your thank you letters, for all the donors that you want to have receive the merge T1 letter, you'll link that thank you letter to this file. Once you make that association once, Microsoft Word will remember that association, so you don't have to go through this process every time. But if you create a new code, then you'll need to link the new code to the new thank you letter. Okay, so now I'm going to skip back to the general ledger process options screen again. So you can see up here in the upper right, there's a printing options button. So this will let you choose, if you want to just print the report or preview and print, and select the printer that you want it to be sent to. So as I mentioned earlier, DonorQuest will produce a donation detail report as well as a donation summary report. It will also break out your donations, monetary versus non-monetary, so you can see totals for the date range that you specify again here, up here in the upper left. Okay, so the rest of the fields down here are for more advanced use, so we won't get into them today during this demonstration. So what I'm going to do now is just hit begin. And here it just brings up a dialog screen where you can choose the printer you want it to be sent to. And when it's finished, you'll get a dialog box on your screen that says it's completed, so just click OK. And that wraps up the general ledger process.